What's going on? It's Pastor E here, and you are at a special edition of the Table Talk with LJ3 Youth. Listen, I'm so excited to have this sit down here with some of my favorite, well, all y'all my favorite youth here. So we want to just talk and come share with you all, especially our youth, just about this whole COVID-19 pandemic. We are getting ready to open the state back up, and so this is time, and this has been called Mask Off because we're getting ready to get right back out there. So I want to introduce to you our panel for today, and so we have our 2020 graduate who is graduating from, was it Hightower? Hightower High School, and will be future freshman at Tennessee State University. Introduce yourself, Carly.
So I'm Carly, like he said. I am graduating from Hightower, and I will be attending Tennessee State University in the fall. That's really it.
That's what's up. All right, Langston.
I'm Langston Jackson. I go to Fort Bend Christian Academy, and I am in 11th grade.
Cool. Youngster.
My name is Aaron Lewis. I attend Shadow Creek High School, and I'm a sophomore.
You're a sophomore. So you're going to be a junior next year?
Yes, sir.
You're going to be a senior next year? And freshman in college next year. So we've been dealing with this COVID-19 pandemic for a while now. So really just starting with you, Carly, kind of how has this COVID-19 pandemic affected you?
So it's affected me in many different ways with not being able to have my prom. My graduation's supposed to be in like 2 weeks, but that's not going to be until July 21st now. It's affected a lot of different things. Some scholarships that like I was supposed to get aren't going to happen because those organizations can't have the banquets to raise the money. So it's affecting me in some different ways, but it's affecting me in good ways too.
Good. What's those good ways?
Well, I'm more focused, kind of. My work ethic has been bettered, if that's a word. I work out more. And I feel like my relationship with God has gotten closer because I've been spending so much more time with Him. Yeah, that's it for me.
Cool. Langston, what about you? How has it affected you?
Well, how it has affected me. So I haven't been able to do my testing for college, so like my ACT and things like that. I only did the ACT once, and so I wanted to keep bettering my score, so you just want to take it over. But basically all the dates in the summer are halfway canceled, and I have online school right now, and that has been a little bit of a hassle. Like Carly said, I've been working out more. I've been doing a lot of more things that I like to do, but it's always been like a hassle to get that motivation, especially since you're in the house all day.
Cool, got it. What about you?
With me being an athlete, it has impacted me with the gyms being closed, with all of the like the AAU being shut down. It's forced me to use what I have, like going outside, playing basketball, using like the stuff you have at home, and cause you never know like what's gonna be gone when it's gone, cause you don't have it no more. So it gives you a different approach on what you have.
Gotcha. So y'all been able to take kind of what's been taken away from you, and kind of replace it with some different things. How has that helped you all? Any one of you mentally, like because you go to school. You used to go to school every day. You have your extracurricular activities. Especially Carly being a senior and all my seniors, man. My heart cries out for you because you've missed a lot of different things. But how have you been able to maintain that mentally and just being able to stay focused?
Well, like I said, I've been praying more. I've been reading my Bible a lot more. I've also been doing yoga. I think y'all know I like to do yoga. So I've been doing that more, and that's helped me kind of stay sane during everything. And just still being me, still doing stuff I love. It's just doing it differently. So I like to go outside, so I go outside in my backyard, just not around other people. So it's like different things you can do, just have to do it different now. So that's kind of what I've been doing.
Okay. What about you, Langston?
Well, I think it's good to have a break, but like after those first 2 weeks in quarantine, I really wanted to get back to being on a schedule because I feel like I function best on a schedule. So I put myself on a schedule, able to like carve out time specifically for schoolwork, specifically for working out, and all those things. So that's really helped, especially with my motivation and things like that. And then also, I've been carving out more time for things I like. And since track season is canceled, I was running track. Um, I just learned that I actually like running now. Now that like I get to choose to do that, so I've been doing that a lot.
Got it. So you were saying about you miss AAU.
Hmm.
So you used to going out competing and especially being around the teams, having that interaction.
Yeah.
Kind of how have you replaced that with something? How have you coped with that? Because I mean, it's especially because I remember you were talking about tryouts and get on different teams. How have you replaced that?
Um, just by like taking the time to realize that you can get better during this time. Like, don't just sit in and just think about what could have happened. Like, go out there and like work on your game. Go ride your bike. Go run. Like, do stuff that's gonna put you ahead because everybody not working right now. Everybody like making excuses for themselves. So this is the time that you can go out there and get better. Put the extra work in.
Cool. That's good. That's real good. What has it been like not being around y'all's peers? Because I think one thing that a lot of people miss is that they see you all as like, this generation is a social media generation. They always on their phones. They're always on Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok. But, they think that if they have their phone, they good. Y'all are good if y'all have your phone, things of that sort. But what about not being around? Has that affected you, you not having that face-to-face interaction and only being limited to the social interaction?
You can go.
No, it hasn't really, just because of the fact that we are a social media generation. So like people have stuff like FaceTime, where you can like see your peer as long as you want. You got Zoom has come on. You can just like interact with your peers, and so it's not really much of a missing factor. But like the physical aspect has changed, but otherwise it hasn't really affected us, in my
Okay.
opinion.
Okay. Okay. What you think?
Well, when it comes to like your real friends, like friends you would talk to, I feel like that hasn't changed that much. Like Aaron said, like you could FaceTime them and all that, but when it comes to like classmates that you usually just talk to in class or anything like that, um, like all you have to see them is like on social media, and so that perspective of them could be like different when you come back or something, just because that's your only influence or the only way you see someone for a long period of time. But yeah, that's how I see it.
Because they can be different on social media. You're like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, I
Mhm.
know you. I see you. I used to see you every day. You're not the same. Social media can have some people looking real different out there.
Yeah.
But what do you think, Carly?
So I think it has affected us, even though we are like the social media generation. It's just not the same being with your friends, being able to go do this or go do that. But like Aaron says, I mean, like your true friends, like, okay, you FaceTime them. You can FaceTime them as long as you want to. Zoom, like, you can do a split screen and y'all can watch a movie together. Like, I mean, you can do different things, but it's just not the same. So it's affected me personally, but it's not terrible. I mean, I'll be happy when I see them, but it's not like, oh no. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Got you. All right. So this is the part, parents, where y'all just can turn it off and just turn around for a little bit. You don't have to hear this. Y'all been stuck in the house with y'all parents for a while. That's different, honestly, because you're at school most of the day. Y'all all are active. Y'all do extracurricular activities. Y'all have things that go on outside of school. But now everything was shut down. So now it's you in the house with your parents all the time. So,
Who?
Aaron, what's it like being in the house
Ah,
all the time?
how can I answer this the appropriate way? um, well, being in the house with my parents all day, it really has. I mean, we were already close, but like we started playing like my dad taught us how to fix a bike, how to change like the tubes and stuff in it, out of the chains. He taught me how to how to clean the pool out. He taught me how to. It's a lot of stuff he's taught me that if we were not in quarantine, he probably wouldn't have the time to do it. So the quarantine had like brought us together as a family, like teach me how to play dominoes, how to like the small things that Tom just wouldn't Tom prevented us from having. So it's like it really has, brought us together as a family.
Okay. I was glad you got to the dominoes part because all this stuff he taught you sound like chores. I was gonna say, Dr. Lewis, man, quit making this boy do all these fixing bikes and. No, okay, that's good. You got more time with your family. Cool, got you. What about you, Langston?
Well, during quarantine, I realized um, when I'm like in normal day life, like you only spend like a certain amount of time with your family, and usually when you do that, you're only asking them for things or they're asking something from you. So like when all that time is like mixed together, you really get to spend quality time with them. So that's a thing that I want to incorporate like after all this is over is to like actually spend time with them rather than just like talking to them to get something done or just like if you need something because like we're now like spending time, we're playing board games and we're having fun, which I like way more than just like talking to me about doing chores all the time, things like that.
Okay. When we were preparing for this, we talked a little bit, and you said something that I wanted them to hear. You said that it used to be a lot of because y'all are moving and going, that it was what you needed from them and what they needed from you. So kind of speak on like like what that relationship was before to kind of how it is now.
Yeah, so like before there's only like a little bit of time, so we do what we need to do, so it's more like transactional. So like you do this, I do this. It's just what is needed at the time, not like what we want necessarily, but just what our needs need to be met. And so I think we just need to focus more on, having fun or just being more happy generally and more joyful.
Got it. He says less transactional. What that means is it's been what can I get from my parents in this short period of time, or what can they get from us that they need us to do. It's been more building that time. He talked about time learning things, time spending together. It's been less transactional. That's good. That's real good. What about you, Carly?
Yeah, I have to agree with what both of y'all said. I've been spending more quality time with my parents. More like my dad and my brother because my mom is a nurse. So I see her when she comes home from work, but by the time she comes home from work, she usually is kind of like tired, had a long day. But on the weekends, we all do spend a lot of time together. It's been more sit down dinners, like at the actual table that we didn't used to do, so to say. Me and my brother, like it would be days I wouldn't see him for like 2 days or something. And we live in the same house, but our schedules were just so off that I would get home at like 9, take a shower, do homework, go to sleep, and he wouldn't get home till about 11. So I wouldn't see him, in between those times. So I've been spending a lot more time with my brother, doing more stuff that he likes. I even got him to try yoga. So it's been like he's doing stuff I like too. So I think it's good.
Cool, cool. Now, during this time, we haven't had our normal interactions. We haven't had, a Bible study like we used to, except for on Zoom.
Hmm.
Church has kind of been live. So, what have you all done? Because sometimes the only times, if we're honest about it, we open the Bible may be at church.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So, what have you all done to, have you done anything like during this pandemic, during this time in the house, to where you grown your relationship with God personally, Langston?
Well, in school currently, I'm in a theology class. So we've been having Zooms on that, so that's been very helpful. We're focusing on the Gospel of Mark and going into specifics about, how we're supposed to rely more on faith than fear. And we go through examples such as like Jesus in the boat with the disciples and how the disciples reacted in fear rather than Jesus is like, why are you so afraid? And he wakes up and just calms the storm. So that's really been helpful. And then I just been reading the book of Mark and seeing those examples for myself, and I could see how God could do something like that through us through this time, and how I just need to trust in Him because right now. I do think that fear, there's a little bit amount of fear that you need to have. Like, you need to have fear enough to put on a helmet when you go on a bike. But right now, in this pandemic, we don't know what that helmet is.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel that we just need to rely on faith because we don't have the knowledge to tackle this on our own.
Got it. Got it. Good deal. Aaron?
Honestly, to be honest with you, I just go like really like my verse of the day on my phone. That's the only Bible I pray in the mornings. But or I go online and look up like scriptures for confidence or scriptures for just stuff like to get you through the day. Cause like he said, like it is time to get like the quarantine is long. Like it's been long, so you sort of like get like out of ideas on like what to do like to make the day go by faster. So the verse of the day has really been nice.
Okay. Did you do that before?
No.
Okay, good. You picked up something new. Good. Carly?
So if we're being honest, on like Sundays, I've been watching like 4 sermons. Pastor Todd, I don't know if y'all know who that is, but
Yep.
he just started his relationship goals. What's it called? Reloaded, unloaded, something. He
Yeah.
just started it over again, and so I really like him. I watch y'all. Then I watch John Gray, and then I'm starting to like T.D. Jakes a lot. So I've been watching like a lot of church, and so that's like been able to help. Because, I mean, y'all all don't preach from the same sermon. So I've been hearing, like, different parts of the Bible, parts that I wouldn't, like, usually read, kind of stick to the same ones. But I've been reading more of, like, Revelations, and then just kind of, like, deeper into how you can apply those scriptures to what's going on right now. Like Langston said, a big thing was the unknown. Like, I'm just now getting dates about graduation and stuff, but for a long time, it was just to be determined. Like, is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? And so having to trust God through all of that, it was like I needed to go read the Bible, like when they had to trust him in a different way, because nobody's seen like what's happening right now before. But the
Right.
closest thing to it was like, okay, in the Bible, like they trusted him in this. So like if he did it then, I know he can do it again. So just keeping my faith strong by like reading the Bible and then like praying. And so John Gray, he said, I'm going to quote him correctly. It was a pandemic's not going to stop God's blessings. And so that was like a big one. And he was like, write that down like 4 times in your notebook. So I wrote it down 4 times. And then within like a week, I got my scholarship letter. So just seeing those like little things made me like, okay, like you're right. God, he's still God, even in the middle of all of this.
That's good. And so y'all use those relationships, like you said, to get through.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think one of the misconceptions is that if you look at the news, we haven't focused a lot on youth.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel. We talk about the 2020 graduate some in the pictures and things,
Mm-hmm.
but we don't talk about how it's affecting them. It's always about how people are losing their jobs and how the economy is down, and now people are protesting, and who wants to open the country back up, who wants to close the country back up. So, sometimes I felt like did you all feel lost as like people not understanding how this was affecting you as youth?
Wait.
Well, I feel like there's not that many voices. I feel, especially talking to mainstream media to get that point across. So, yeah, I don't think they conveyed that properly conveyed it enough of the youth perspective. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree, because it was more of just the like staying home, like
Shit, stay
just
at
wait.
home. Wait.
It's gonna be over. And so I mean, you even saw that with people at the beach in Florida, like they did not stay at home, like they were not about to wait. Like
Right.
you couldn't give them like a deadline on when. It was just like, oh, we don't know how long this is gonna last. And so I was actually in San Antonio for the state game, and everything was fine in San Antonio. I mean, we were just kind of chilling, and then when we got back to Houston, it was like nobody leave the house, 6 feet apart, stay at home. And it was just kind of like, what? Like, we were just having fun. So I think just kind of how everything just, like, switched. Like, I had just bought a prom dress, so I'm getting ready for prom, and you're like, no, we staying at home. Like, for what? What happened? So I feel like that could have been conveyed a little more, how not only affected my class 2020, but, like, your class 2021. Like, you still need to take your SAT, your ACT. Even though they say they're going to waive it, so they waive it, but then now does your GPA have to be almost a 4.0? Like, it's different things. And so then that took away a year of like extracurriculars for you. And I mean, I know they'll be understanding, but let's say somebody was slacking off kind of their junior year. Well, senior year, I mean, all my applications went in about August 15th. So, they only see freshman, sophomore, and junior, and then you see like a final went in, but they don't really see. So
Right.
it took away some time, and I feel like people don't really understand that. It's more of like, do your work, do the scholarships, do this, do that. Well, how am I do the scholarships? I don't have official transcript. So it's a lot of like back and forth trying to figure things out. So I feel like, yeah, it could have been conveyed a little better.
Good deal. And listen, all my parents out there, if you're watching this, have these conversations with your youth. Start to talk about how they feel that this affected them and the things that they're thinking about, because that could be lost in the conversation that they're having. It could be lost that what they feel and how they feel and the pressures they have haven't been met or haven't been talked about during this entire pandemic. So I encourage you to spend some time doing that. Great feedback. One question I want to ask is kind of what has changed for you from then to now? Like what do you feel has changed from then to now?
Um, my work ethic.
Your work ethic. Okay.
Like just like taking an extra step. Like with me and my little brother, we'll be riding our bike, and he'll be ready to go, and I'll just be like, let's ride an extra mile. And he might go home, and I keep riding just because I'm trying to be better than somebody else. Like I'm actually trying to play for a scholarship. Like when I looked at it, I only got basically a year to get a scholarship to get noticed, or 2 years, because I'm not the only one that plays basketball. There's a million other people that want to do what I do. So when you like think about all that, you gotta want to put the extra work in. Like even with school, like some kids might not get an offer just because of their grade point average. So it's like it's a whole package that you gotta have. So when you think about all that, it just makes you want to go harder. So that's really what I just been thinking about doing all of this.
Cool. Thanks.
So, like I said, I've been really like unmotivated. So this pandemic, it's helping me understand that I need to be more responsible and be more hard on myself, and the fact that I need to get my work done. Because right now, the teachers could tell you to do your work, but it's just like an email. Like they're not there to tell you to like do it now. So it's really helped me understand like to have more self-discipline in my work and my just everything I do. So
Got it.
Yeah.
Carly.
Same thing like Aaron said. My work ethic definitely, because when this is all over, it's back to everything that you ever wanted. Your goals are still the same. And so this is a time that you can rebrand yourself, or you can come out behind. Like you can get ahead or you can be behind, depending on how much work ethic or how much work you're putting in during this time. And it's going to show. Like you can say you've been in the gym every day, you've been doing this, you've been doing that. All right, 4 months later, we looking like you ain't do nothing. So definitely that, and then becoming more grateful for every little moment. Like Aaron knows, we left for a teen conference the day before spring break. The day before spring break was going to start at school, and so that day, me and one of my favorite teachers, my AP biology teacher, I wouldn't say it was an argument, but we had a disagreement, so to say, about a grade that I thought should have been higher, and he thought it should have been lower. I really don't think he graded it right to this day, but he was under a lot of stress because he is about to go back to medical school, and he's planning a wedding. And I don't think I was as understanding of him how I could have been, but like that was my last time seeing him. Not to say that he won't come to like my graduation party or anything, but like that's a moment I can't get back. And so I emailed him and I did apologize, and we apologized to each other, but it was just that little moment was taken for granted. Like I didn't know that would be my last time seeing him or seeing any of my teachers or my friends. Like I would have done things so much different that day. If I could go back to the Thursday before spring break, I would have done things a lot different.
Got you. And off camera, Carly said something we need to put it on a shirt. Stuff changed, but goals are the same. And I thought that's true. It did. This pandemic changed us. It changed what we how we view life, how we do things. I never thought there'd be a time where you couldn't go to certain places and all the businesses would be shut down and you stuck inside. No sports on TV, or all major events have ended. But at the same time, for all of you all, the goals remain the same at the end of the day. So that's awesome that y'all stay focused there. So this is the final question for each three of you. So with the world opening up now, what are you taking from this pandemic into the future?
You can't take God out of the equation. Like that's it. It's nothing more. That's it. Point blank.
Can't
Can't
Take
take
him
God out
out.
of the equation.
look at you. Hey, Dr. Lewis, don't be taking your son's nuggets in these sermons. Can't take God out the equation. Nice.
So after this pandemic, I think I'm just going to be more appreciative because after after I've been like in the house for such a long time, I realized like I'm appreciating more, just going out, going to football games, going to basketball games, spending time with my friends. I'm definitely gonna appreciate that more and just like imagining how the first like major school event's gonna be like and how like hype everyone's gonna be. That's just like that's just been sitting with me. Also, just allowing God to just, especially with the unknown, just let Him deal with things that we have no control over. I'm definitely gonna bring that because a lot of times I like to worry about things I don't have control over. But this pandemic has really just taught me that I just need to stop doing that.
Yeah.
Good.
I agree with Aaron, kind of what he said. Yeah, like after this pandemic, I have to keep in mind that I still need God just as much as I did on my best day. I need Him like well, let me rephrase that. How I needed Him on my worst day is how I need Him on my best day. And so during this pandemic, not all my days were bad, but not all of them were great
Good, good.
either. And so those days that I prayed to God 3 or 4 times a day, and I read the Bible, maybe 3 or 4 times that day as well, is the same thing that I need to do when everything's going great in my life, when I'm not stressed, when I'm not worried, because God is still the same God. You still need Him. And at the end of the day, like, we're nothing without God. So for us to go back on our best day and feel like, oh, we don't need Him anymore after He just brought us through all of this, like, because it could have been you with Corona. Like, it could have been you that didn't make it or stuff like that. And so you just have to remain grateful, basically. Yeah.
Awesome. Listen, man, I thank you all. I thank you, Carly, Langston, Aaron, for being here today. I thank you all for joining us on today. Listen, as the state begins to open up, as our city begins to open up, let's continue to wear our masks. Let's continue to be smart, practice social distancing. This will be over soon. I thank you for the hope that they gave to each one of you on how to handle this now and after this pandemic. Listen, God bless you. We love you. It's Pastor E, and we'll see you next time.